And this is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI in Harrison, New York. We have a good friend visiting the office today, Peter Blau of Customer Growth, located up in Fairfield, Connecticut. And Peter is a veteran of direct marketing and doing quite a bit of online marketing, some broadcast work too. And Peter, you come from a well-known family of marketers. Your dad was a well-known advertising and marketing executive. Just tell us a little bit about how you got into direct marketing.
I actually started working for my dad when I was still in junior high school. My dad worked at a big New York ad agency called SSC&B, and he had a home business. He moonlighted selling palm trees through the mail. We ran little ads in the New York Times and in the home decorating magazines. And my friends from school and I would open the envelopes and take the checks out, sometimes cash, and take the information from the coupons and make labels to ship these palm trees via the mail to people all around the country. After I went to college, my dad had already started his own business full-time called Blau and Partners, which is a direct response advertising agency and one of the first of its kind. And I worked with him for about 20 years, building the business to the point that by the time we sold it in the late 90s, it was the largest independent direct marketing agency. And then once my non-compete ran out, I started a business called Customer Growth, which is focused on businesses that acquire customers using direct marketing, particularly subscription style or recurring revenue products and services, and companies that also retain and grow those customer relationships, hence the name Customer Growth. That's how I got into the business.
That's great. A great history. And Peter, you're working, I've got an interesting background because you're doing both traditional direct mail, but you've done some broadcasts too. Tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, we work across all different media, and the idea of direct marketing or direct response, different people call it different things, is that it's a discipline of motivating people to make a action, which is either sign up or, in the case of some products and services, to raise your hand and say, yes, I'm interested, so you become a lead. So that works across multiple media. For years, we've worked in both television, radio, as well as mail, and in recent years, email and online advertising, Google AdWords, for example. They all are perfectly suited for a customer or a prospective customer to click or somehow raise their hands and say, yes, I want to purchase. And that's a big difference from most advertising still today is brand advertising, with the purpose is to get people to remember a brand so that when they go into the store, they'll pick the product off the shelves. In the direct area, we are selling directly to the customer or getting a inquiry directly from the customer.
And you've done about 75% of your work, you said, in financial services, and you and I both go back a long way. What are some of the changes you've seen, especially in banking, over your career?
Well, our industry was, and yours, was created by the credit card. Before credit cards were around, it was very, very hard. You know, I talked about junior high school was pre-credit card for most Americans, and people sent checks and dollar bills in the mail, which worked, but it did not allow for an impulse purchase. You couldn't call up on the phone, and certainly if the internet existed, without a credit card, you couldn't click on something and really buy it. You'd have to wait until the check came and cleared. So the credit card really invented the business as we know it today, the direct marketing business and the online marketing business as we know it today. It happens that my business, my family's business, the old company, Blau and Partners, was built to a great extent working for the credit card issuers themselves, Citibank, First USA, and other leading card issuers. So in that case, and I know your company as well works directly for the credit card industry. So we are working to this day for credit card issuers and making partnership marketing deals between companies. For example, a utility company that's selling electric and gas service for the residents and small business. They might not have a brand name and a customer base to market to, but via partnerships with credit card companies and banks and financial services companies, we can give them access to customers who are already predisposed to buy because they have a affinity relationship with the financial services company. Since just about everybody in the country who has who's viable financially has some sort of financial relationship with a credit card company.
Absolutely, and one of the trends, obviously, is tremendous growth in online, in digital marketing, and I guess banking in particular has had challenges in trying to adapt to promotion online. Obviously, online banking has become a mainstay. What are some of the trends you see for banks in trying to be successful online?
Well, there's a lot of companies that are competing against the bricks and mortar banks that are primarily online or at least primarily direct businesses, Quicken Loans, for example. So in order to compete with the online-only financial institutions, the traditional bricks and mortar banks are online as well. Some do a better job than others. Some do a pretty miserable job. So every financial institution of any kind is doing business online. We do also work with the wealth management, stock brokerage, financial planning sector. Increasingly, that business is going on online, at least for the purposes of lead acquisition, but often for the purpose of actually trading stocks. I mean, there's really no reason to make a phone call to a broker to make a securities trade nowadays. So the companies that are growing in that space are offering an online servicing as well as an online client acquisition. Yeah.
And Peter, you were telling us a little bit about thinking about, big data is a big topic today, but also the importance for companies of managing small data. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we hear so much about big data, and the of big data is using analysis on data sets that are so large that they are not easily accessible by traditional means. So what we talk about is companies needing to master small data first. So small data is my term for using data sets, analyzing data sets that can be tackled with traditional software and traditional tools. And that's really the basis for modern direct marketing, which is what we used to call customer segmentation. And we think that so many businesses really need to start at that basic level of segmenting their customers, analyzing their customer base, finding out enough about them so that they can use that data to do a more effective job at acquiring new customers. Traditionally, that's been referred to as predictive modeling. People need to do that before they go into a typical big data application. And a big data application might be analyzing the shopping characteristics and behavior of tens of millions of retail purchasers to find patterns that can help you market more efficiently. Well, why don't you first start by looking at your hundreds of thousands or perhaps millions of customers and find out what distinguishes them from the population as a whole, and using those characteristics to find more customers like them.
Okay, Peter Blau, Customer Growth up in Fairfield, Connecticut. How can people find out more about your company?
Well, they can go online to www.customer-growth.com. They can also Google Peter Blau Customer Growth, or they can look us up in Fairfield, Connecticut, Customer Growth, LLC.
Very good. Peter Blau visiting us here at CBSI in Harrison, New York. This is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI.